Hello students, welcome to AIMS India's online classes, biology session, respiration, the energy releasing system. We have started the class last video. In this video we are going to discuss more about the process of respiration, the respiratory system and its role in the process of respiration. Are you ready, children? Let us proceed. Pathway of air. In the last class, we studied different events or the steps in respiration. So let us continue. First, the air from external or from the external environment. Air usually enters the body through nostrils. A pair of nostrils are present through which the air usually enters the body. Next, from nostrils, the air enters into nasal cavity. The nasal cavity, it is a moist surface lining of the nasal cavity, and the hairs growing from its sides will filter. What happens in the nasal cavity means the filtration of air takes place. It removes some of the tiny particles of dirt present in the air. In addition, as the inhaled air passes through the nasal cavity, its temperature is brought close to that of the body and it takes up water vapor so that it becomes more moist than before. Okay, moisturization of the air which enters the body. If that air from the external environment as it is enters into the respiratory tract, it may damage the internal parts of the respiratory system. So humidification of the air takes place in the nasal cavities. Next, pharynx. The entire respiratory system is lined by, the wall of the respiratory system is lined by the mucous membrane, so which always secretes the mucus which absorbs the heat from the air which enters inside. Okay, from nasal cavity the air enters into pharynx. The pharynx, the warming and moisturizing goes on in this common passage. Pharynx is a common junction for the digestive system and respiratory system. In the pharynx, a structure called epiglottis, which you have studied in the nutrition. So that epiglottis, a flip-like or flap-like muscular valve, it controls the movement of food and air towards their respective passages. Means this epiglottis, it allows the air to enter into windpipe. When the air is entering, it closes the food pipe, esophagus, so that the air enters into the windpipe. Like that, it regulates it acts like a traffic police and regulate the entry of the materials from pharynx to food pipe or esophagus and the air to windpipe or trachea. Okay, so you see the passage here. The external air enters into the nostrils. From the nostrils, the air gets filters in the nostrils, because in the nostrils also some hairs are present, and then in the nasal cavity the air totally gets filtered and it passes to the pharynx where the mucous membrane is present. It also cools the air which enters into, and the larynx. Next part we are going to. Larynx is the sound box. Okay, so larynx. This larynx is the stiff box contains vocal cords. A pair of vocal cords present. When the air passes out of the lungs and over the vocal cords, it causes them to vibrate. This produces the sound on the basis of our speech or song. Because of these vocal cords only, we could able to talk, shout, sing a song. Okay, these are all the vocal cords, magic. Okay, the trachea. The next, the air enters into the trachea. Trachea is also called the windpipe. The channeling air to the lungs. It is a long tube-like structure which run from the along the esophagus in the chest cavity and divides into the two branches. Okay, touch our neck to feel the tube-like. If you touch the neck, you feel a tube-like structure, which is the trachea. It is made up of cartilaginous rings, C-shaped cartilaginous rings are present, which protect the wall of the trachea or windpipe. So this trachea divides into the two branches, left and right, bronchi. Each one is called as bronchus. Each one is called bronchus. At bronchus, at its lower end, the trachea or the windpipe divides into the two bronchi, one leading to each lung. Okay, this bronchus or the trachea opens into the lungs by means of bronchus. Okay, it divides into two branches called bronchi, one leading to each lung. Next, this bronchus divides into further small branches. For example, this is a trachea. Trachea in the chest cavity finally divides into two branches. They are called bronchi. Each one is called bronchus. This bronchus, after entering into the lungs, it divides into small branches. They are called bronchioles. They are called bronchioles. So each bronchi is further divided into smaller and smaller branches called bronchioles. Next, these bronchioles opens into alveoli. Each one, it is called alveolus. So each lung, if you take, it is made up of small structural and functional units. They are called alveoli or alveolus. Okay, each one alveolus. So like this, these bronchioles opens into these air sacs. They are also called small units. Okay, alveolus are finally they terminate in the clusters of air sacs called alveoli in the lungs, which are very small and more in number, numerous. The gaseous exchange takes place here as blood capillaries take up oxygen and expel carbon dioxide. Okay, so the air from nostrils, from external environment enters into the nostrils, from the nostrils into the nasal cavities, from the nasal cavities pharynx, from the pharynx enters into the larynx, from the larynx trachea, from the trachea bronchus, from the bronchus bronchioles, and finally enters into the lungs. Where in the lungs? Into the alveolus. Each alveolus is consisting of small blood capillaries, richly supplied with the blood capillaries and the blood, and the exchange of gas, that is carbon dioxide and oxygen between the blood, takes place in the alveolus. Okay, the whole passage from nostrils to alveolus is moist and warm. Next, from alveolus, the air mixes with the blood. The blood carries oxygen, collects carbon dioxide to each and every cell of the body. Okay, so the duty of the blood is it containing the hemoglobin, which combines with these gases, oxygen, and take to the cells, where in the mitochondria present in the cell takes that oxygen, and the process of respiration takes place. That is called cellular respiration. Further we will discuss. Okay, so the entire respiratory tract, or the whole passage from nostrils to alveolus, it is moist and warm. Okay children, let us proceed. Epiglottis and the passage of air. The epiglottis from the pharynx, there are, so before going to this epiglottis, let us know more about the interior of the lungs. Interior of the lungs, a lung is divided into millions of small chambers. Okay, the tremendously increasing the moist surface available for the transfer of gases between air and the blood. The lining of the lungs are much folded, and so their total surface is enormous. If all alveoli of our lungs are spread out, they will cover the area nearly 160 meters square. Means very more in number these alveolus are. Okay, let us think and discuss children. What will happen if the respiratory tract is not moist? Think. What happens? Are both lungs similar in size? Another question. Next, why alveolus are so small and uncountable in number? Okay, these three questions. What will happen if the respiratory tract is not moist? The air which is hot compared to our internal environmental temperature, the hot air when enters into the body, then it damages the respiratory tract. Are both lungs similar in size? No. Okay, why? Because for maintenance of the homeostasis, the left and right lung, two lungs are there, out of which the left lung is slightly smaller than the right lung, made up of 4. Okay, it is having some lobes. Okay, not only the lungs, even kidneys also. One of the kidney is large in size compared to another kidney. Even the heart also, one side the chamber is large in size compared to other side. This is all due to the balance in the body. Okay, next, what is the next question? Why alveolus are so small and uncountable? Okay, because to increase the surface area inside the lungs, these are very small and uncountable, so that the more air enters inside and more exchange of gases takes place. Okay, that's why deep breathe when you take, so the more energetic you feel. Okay, breathing exercise are very, very important, which strengthen your lungs. Okay children, let us proceed. Epiglottis and the passage of air. From the pharynx, there are two passages beginning with the nearly same opening and ending into separate ones, one of the lungs and one to the stomach. Okay, so what are that openings? One is a food pipe or esophagus, and the second one is trachea. Trachea or windpipe. Food pipe, windpipe. Windpipe means which carries the wind, air. Okay, it is important that air goes into one and the food into the other. It is also important that the food does not enter the tube through which air goes into the lungs. Okay, that is why that epiglottis is a very, very important structure which regulates the entry of food and air. The traffic is kept properly channeled by a flap-like valve, the epiglottis. What is that flap-like valve? The epiglottis. The epiglottis that protects the tube to the lungs, arresting entry of food. Okay, it closes the food pipe and divert the air to enter into the windpipe or trachea. Okay, so here epiglottis diverts air to lungs. See, breathing when the air enters inside. So this is, here two are there. One is food pipe, another one is windpipe. Okay, so here it is closing. This is the epiglottis, which is closing the food pipe here, so that diverting the air to enter into the windpipe. The epiglottis diverts the food mass away from opening of larynx here. See. Okay, so it is allowing the food to enter into food pipe, peristalsis movement, swallowing taking place. Okay, so that's the reason why the elders suggest you not to talk when you are eating. Okay, so when you talk, what happens means the vocal cords will vibrate, so that epiglottis may not function properly, so it may skip the food to enter into the windpipe, and you will get some different sometimes from the nose also, that what do you call, the spices will come out. Okay, that's why you will bend the head, or sometimes they will beat on the head, and you will drink the water to overcome that problem. Okay, so that is the function of the epiglottis. Next, epiglottis in the passage of air. Observe the following figure here. The epiglottis. Discuss in your class how the epiglottis works while breathing or swallowing. So here the swallowing and breathing epiglottis, where the air is entering into the trachea. The entrance, this is the entrance. The esophagus is the food pipe. Okay, and here to the stomach means it is allowing to enter into the food pipe. But here it is closed, epiglottis is closed, so that air enters into the trachea. This valve is partly closed. Epiglottis protects the tube of the lungs, arresting the entry of the food, and it acts like a trophic police, okay, which allows the food to enter into the food pipe, allows the air into the windpipe. This is, the wall is partly closed. When we swallow food, it deflects the food down to the stomach and keeps it out of the trachea or windpipe, which is the route to the lungs. The epiglottis opens more widely when we take a breath, and air enters the lungs. Okay, nervous regulation is important in guiding the function of epiglottis and the passage of food and air. Okay, children. So the epiglottis opens more widely when we take a breath. Okay, let us try to do an activity to feel what happens when we swallow the food. Why we are advised not to talk while eating food? Because to avoid the entry of food into the trachea, it is very important not to talk. Okay, to do this activity, what you have to do is keep your palm around an inch away from the nose. Okay, feel you are breathing out. Do not remove it until you have finished the activity. Breathe steadily for 1 to 2 minutes. Now take a piece of any fruit, chew, and before swallowing it, keep the fingers of other palm on your neck. Now swallow. What did you notice? What happens to your breath as you try to swallow? Because observation of the breath is very important. So what is helping you to swallow without deflecting it to the windpipe? It is the epiglottis. Okay, it is the epiglottis which allowing that fruit to enter into food pipe, swallowing. Okay, and air into the trachea. Okay, children, let us proceed further. The mechanism of respiration in human beings, which you already studied in your lower classes. In the 7th class, you might have studied. We know that the breathing is the process of inhaling and exhaling. It is also called inhalation and exhalation. Okay. The organ involved mainly in respiration is, what is that organ? Lungs. Okay, what is our respiratory organ? Okay, it is lungs. So you can't see your lungs, isn't it? But it's easy to feel them in action. Put your hand to know the lungs activity. Another activity you please follow. To feel in action, put your hand on your chest and breathe in very deeply. Okay, you will feel your chest getting slightly bigger, expansion. Your chest get expanded, isn't it? Now breathe out and breathe out the air and feel your chest return to its regular size. Relax. Okay, you have just felt the power of your lungs. When you breathe in like balloons, they bulge, they increase the chest cavity. And when you see here the expanded chest expand when you breathe in. Okay, so it is not so simple. Several physical activities are taking place. Several structures are involved in the breathing. Sternum, it is also called the breastbone. Sternum, ribs, diaphragm. So these are the structures which involved in the breathing process. Okay, children, the organ involved are mainly the lungs in the respiration. The lungs themselves can neither draw in air nor push it out. Lungs are helpless without these structures. Instead, the chest wall muscles and another flexible flattened muscle called diaphragm helps the lungs in moving air into and out of them. Into and air inside and air outside. So here during breathing, chest expands. Okay, the sternum also expand. The diaphragm contracts. So internal air pressure decreases. So the air rushes inside. During expiration, chest contracts. So ribs also decrease in size. then the diaphragm relax, go back to normal position. So internal air pressure decreases. Due to that, the air rushes out. Okay, children, let us know more the movement of rib cage during inhalation and exhalation. Okay, so here the role of diaphragm and the ribs in respiration are both active in men and women. If you compare, in women the ribs plays very important role in the process of inhalation and exhalation, but in men the diaphragm plays very important role. Okay, so the chest wall is made up of ribs, muscles and the skin. The ribs are attached to at an angle to the spine, means spinal cord or the backbone, particularly spine means. Okay, if you run your finger along one of your ribs, if you just touch it, you will notice that it extends downward from the spine, isn't it? Next, when we inhale, the chest wall moves up and expands. This causes the increase in the volume of the chest cavity. Chest cavity increases. Then the diaphragm may be imagined as the floor if you think of the chest cavity as a room. Okay, if the chest cavity, if you consider it as a room, this diaphragm acts as a floor. When the diaphragm is relaxed, when we breathe out, it is in the shape of a dome. It is in the shape of a dome with the convex side of the dome extending into the chest cavity. Okay, so here when the diaphragm contracts during inhalation, it flattens out a bit or the dome moves downwards. As a result, the volume of the chest cavity is increased. If the volume of the chest cavity is increased, it can accommodate more volume of air. More air enters inside. Okay, you observe here in the diagram. Okay, the diaphragm. The action of diaphragm. You see, the dome. When you inhale, the diaphragm flattens. The diaphragm flattens out a bit. The dome moves downwards here. Here the dome is moving downwards. See the arrow mark. Moving down. So as a result of which, what happens? The chest expands. The chest expands. So more volume of the chest cavity increases. So more air inhaled will come and gather in the lungs. Okay, the abdomen also expands because the diaphragm is coming down. The diaphragm contracts. Okay, when the diaphragm is in contract position, we are inhaling. It comes down, increase the chest cavity, more air rushes inside. And during exhalation, breathing out, at that time, what happens? The diaphragm relaxes, go back to its normal position, goes up. So the chest cavity contracts. So the air rushes out. So this is the action of diaphragm. In men, diaphragm plays very important role in the breathing process. What is breathing? One inhalation plus one exhalation is equal to one breathing. Okay, children, let us proceed. Movement of rib cage during the inhalation and exhalation. When the diaphragm flattens, the volume of the chest cavity is increased, its internal pressure decreases, and the air from outside rushes into the lungs. This is called inspiration. During inspiration, internal air pressure is less, so that external air will rushes inside. Okay. Then the reserve occurs. The chest wall is lowered and moves inward, and the diaphragm relaxes and assumes it's like a dome. These changes increase the pressure on the lungs, and their elastic tissue contracts and squeezes the air out from the nose to the external atmosphere. This is called exhalation. During inhalation, internal air pressure decreases. During exhalation, internal air pressure increases, so the air rushes out. Okay. So inhalation and exhalation, once again you see the picture where during inhalation the chest expand, ribs lift up and out. Okay. Chest expands, internal air pressure decreases, so the air rushes inside. The diaphragm contracts, flattens out, come down. Okay, to increase the chest cavity. The next, in the exhalation, the diaphragm relaxes, it goes to normal position, and the ribs also turn down and in, so that the chest deflates, contracts. Okay, so the volume decreases, so that internal air pressure increase. Due to that, the air rushes out. Okay, this is called exhalation. One inhalation and one exhalation is equal to one respiration. Okay, children. Respiration involves breathing. Breathing is occurring in two stages. One is inhalation, first stage. Second one is exhalation. During inhalation, the air which enters the lungs mixes with the blood. The oxygen combines with the blood, and the carbon dioxide leaves. During exhalation, the carbon dioxide is leaving out. That's why the composition of air will change. The air which enters inside and the air which is coming outside, okay, its composition may vary because of these some changes inside. The pathway of air, once again you see how the air enters from the nasal cavity, enters into the nostrils, from the nostrils. So first nostrils, from the nostrils, nasal cavity, enters into the pharynx, then larynx. Here the epiglottis, it closes the pharynx, it closes the esophagus and allows the air to enter into the trachea. So next, from epiglottis, larynx, from the larynx, trachea. Here in the larynx region only, the vocal cords are present. These are the vocal cords which vibrate to produce the sound. From the trachea, it runs long tube, it opens into the bronchi. From the bronchi, bronchioles. From the bronchioles, enter the lungs. The lungs, it combines with the alveoli. The alveoli are richly supplied with the blood capillaries, where the exchange of gases takes place. This is the respiratory system of human being. Okay. Thank you for watching our video. Please subscribe our channel and press the bell icon for receiving latest updates. Read textbook.